He then goes on to state that notwithstanding, it then remains a source of law. And he then makes the application that he seeks to rely on it then as a source of law. If it is a source of law, which I submit it is not, then he requires no leave to rely on it. We are enjoined, us as advocates, you as the committee are enjoined by the Constitution to follow the Constitution and the law.
May I just have brief rejoinder?
I'm not finished.
Okay.
Yeah, proceed.
I wanted to make sure that I had the chair's attention, because
Yes.
I want to make then an important point.
Okay, proceed.
If he acknowledges that the law upon which that document, or the authority that prepared that document no longer exists, the act was repealed, then there is no statutory authority for that document to then be relied on as a source of law or as an interpretation of the law. Second, and perhaps more importantly, Chair, the County Assembly's case closed very late yesterday evening. There is no room in today's proceedings for the Assembly to introduce either any new evidence or any new law. There is an opportunity for parties at the conclusion of this afternoon's testimony to make submissions. And if he intends to rely on law, if he believes it is law, then it is in those closing arguments or submissions that it belongs. And if he brings it up again, I will repeat my objection. It is not law. He acknowledges it isn't, and he has no ability to rely on it. And at this point in time, he doesn't have any room in these proceedings. Thank you.
Chair, in brief rejoinder to what my learned friend has submitted on, the document reads that the Transitional Authority is established under the Transition to Devolution, Cap 12, pursuant to Section 15 of the 6th Schedule to the Constitution. This document that I'm referring to, Chair, is premised on the Constitution. Section 15 of the transitional clauses to the Constitution. That means that this document is still alive. There is no any other manual that has been generated by any other organ or institution that can guide the question of the constitution of the human resource. As such, Chair, this is not bad law. It's good law simply because it is a manual that is in operation currently, and it is premised on Section 15. Unless Section 15 of the new Constitution, the transitional clauses, has been repealed or has ceased to have the force of law, then Council can submit and have some backing. But as long as the opinion I'm seeking to rely on is premised on that section, Chair, this is good law.
Thank you. Council, I wish to direct as follows on the application made by Council Ndegwa. Council, you should remain alive to the fact that the case for Kirinyaga County Assembly was closed yesterday. But again, you still have an opportunity through cross-examination to refer to any document that you want. You may want to refer to the Constitution. You may want to refer to rulings made by the High Court or the Supreme Court, or whatever source of law that you may want to refer to. That does not stop you to refer to any document. However, the committee, while retreating to make its report, will consider the matter as to whether this advisory made by the Transition Authority is a valid source of law or not. So you only have a window during the cross-examination to refer to whatever you want to refer, including newspapers and whatever documents that will be available for you. So relax. I'll give you time to flex your muscles around and refer to any document that you may wish. Thank you.
I'm well guided and humbled by the directions.
Thank you for that guidance, Chairman.
Now, we have 1 hour to hear the two witnesses. So the 1 hour starts running now.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to call the next witness for the governor, Mr. Joe Muriuki.
Is he around?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Chairman, as we wait for this witness, his statement is on pages 79 to 84 of the governor's response. No, it's not Keba. No, wait. It's okay. Okay, come. Okay, sir. Keba. Just ask Keba to come in. Come in. Sorry, Chairman. This witness's statement is from page 85 to 87.
Joe Muriuki.
No, not Joe Muriuki. Joe Muriuki will testify next. This is Kefa Kariuki.
Okay. Okay, Kefa, you will have an option of taking an oath or affirmation. You'll take an oath. Okay, proceed.
I, Kefa Mugambi Kariuki, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this special committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So you'll sit directly opposite the chair. Okay. No, Kefa Kariuki. Page 85.
Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Put on your mic.
Chair, my name is Kefa Mugambi Kariuki. I am a member of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga, duly nominated to represent the youths in the great county of Kirinyaga.
You're a nominated MCA. When you speak, address the chair. Look at the chair. Don't look at me.
Yes.
Yeah, and if the hanging mask is making you uncomfortable, you may remove it because it's looking like some earring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kefa, for how long have you been a member of the Kirinyaga County Assembly?
Chair, I have been a member of Kirinyaga County Assembly immediately after the 2017 general elections. We were sworn in office in September, so I've been serving as a member of the Kirinyaga County Assembly since then.
To which political party do you belong, if you belong to a party at all?
Chair, I do belong to the Jubilee Party, whose party leader is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
Now, Kefa, I want to ask you whether you have had an opportunity to have a look at the motion that was filed in the assembly where you are a member for the impeachment of the governor of your county.
Chair, the motion was tabled. We were all served with the notice of motion.
Just one step at a time. Have you seen the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you written a statement in opposition to that motion?
Yes.
Now, would you like to produce that statement as your evidence in chief or as part of your evidence in chief before this committee?
Affirmative.
Chairman, I restate again that that is the statement that runs from pages 85 to 87. Okay, now back to the motion, Kefa. What would you like to tell this committee about the manner in which the motion was prosecuted before the Kirinyaga County Assembly?
Chair, being a member of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga, I am always present in whatever happenings that happened in the County Assembly of Kirinyaga. When this motion was brought, Chair, I vividly remember very well that we raised some issues. I personally raised my reservations towards the mode at which the motion was being brought. Chair, I remember that day before the motion was brought, I was seated, enjoying my lunch at the County Assembly cafeteria together with other honorable members, and all of a sudden a discussion arose that someone is to bring something to sign. This something to sign, I wasn't fully aware what was to be signed. So immediately, the documents to be signed arrived with one of the members. I was sought to go ahead and sign. I said that I cannot append my signature to something that I cannot append my signature to something that I am not aware what I am attesting to. So I said I won't sign. Then the other members were coerced to proceed at the back of the County Assembly to go ahead and start signing the motion.
Who coerced them to go to the back of the assembly and begin to sign the motion?
The person who brought the papers to be signed started whipping the members at the back of the County Assembly to go ahead and sign the papers which he had come with.
Do you know who that was? Do you recall the person who was whipping the other members?
Personally, the person who asked me to go and sign was MCA from Tebere Ward.
He was a member of the assembly?
Yeah, he's a member of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga.
So by whipping you and your other colleagues to go to the back and sign the motion, he was carrying out his duty as an MCA?
I don't know, since I don't think so, since the roles of the members of the County Assembly and him not being a chief whip, he's not allowed to whip members of the County Assembly.
Okay. Do you recall the date when this happened?
I may not be able to recall the exact date when the Nini was brought, about the signing document was brought, but it was before the notice was issued. The notice of the impeachment motion was issued.
It was before the notice of impeachment motion was issued?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall when the notice of impeachment motion was issued?
Yes, I do recall when the notice of impeachment motion was issued.
When was it issued?
The exact date, I might need to look at my calendar to remember the exact date when the notice of motion was issued.
Okay. And when the notice of motion was issued, as a member of the Kirinyaga County Assembly, do you recall how it was processed or how it was prosecuted through the assembly?
Normally, in the County Assembly, when there is an issue of discussion before the House, depending with the weighty matter of the substance of discussion, the motion is first brought to the relevant committee, and the committee then takes that mandate to ensure that the matter is prosecuted, including via public participation. When this motion of impeachment motion was issued, the matter of public participation was one of my highest reservations that I raised, since it was not duly effectively subjected to the correct mechanism for public participation.
When you say the correct mechanism for public participation for an important motion such as this, what do you mean?
I mean that as a practice and customs of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga, there are ways which we do prosecute issues which come before the House. First, the clerk of the County Assembly, the clerk of the County Assembly will issue a notice in the dailies requiring the members of the public to issue written memorandum and still gazette and still highlight the date, time, and venue in all the 20 wards when the matter will go for public hearings. The issue before the impeachment, my issue was, this is a very weighty issue, and it was not subjected to public hearings, given that this was an issue that needed the governor, who was duly elected by the members of the public, to be removed from office. So that the issue of the members of the public not having been included, because the clerk during the public hearing, the date set for the public hearing, the clerk will assigns each MCA a clerk who will record minutes for the presentation made by the members of the public, and those minutes will form part of the substance report that will be tabled in the county assembly. So in the normal practice and the normal customs of the county assembly, the members of public, whether they do understand the national language or whether they do not, some will submit in writing, and those who cannot be able to submit in writing because of one issue or another, the issue is subjected to public hearings, and all those documentations are encompassed to the substantive motion before the House.
Thank you. So, Kefa, it is your evidence that the Kirinyaga County Assembly did not subject this motion for the impeachment of your governor to public participation?
Through the chair, yes.
Okay. Now, Kefa, I want to, do you recall when the motion for impeachment was dealt with by the Assembly?
Yes, I do recall.
What was the date?
It was on a Monday. I remember it was on a Monday. I'm not so good in the actual dates, but I remember it was on a Tuesday when the motion was prosecuted before the House. Sorry, not Monday.
All right. Now I want you to tell the committee whether there is anything about or anything out of the ordinary, out of anything unusual about the happenings in the Assembly the day before or even the night before this motion was considered.
Through the chair, it was a very funny day in Kirinyaga County, since on that Monday, the members who are in support for the motion slept in the assembly chambers. I was not among the members who were supporting the motion, so I still don't know how the members actually slept, given that there were ladies who were supporting the motion and there were still men who were still supporting the motion. And that actually raised a lot of eyebrows, because according to our African culture, something that is being done during the night, it doesn't merge well with our usual customs. We are used to be people of broad daylight. We deal with things when we can see each other, as long as those substantive issues are of common benefit to what the discourse is all about. I remember on the material day, when the impeachment motion was duly laid in the floor of the county assembly, some of the members who are not for the motion had raised on. I actually was the first person to raise on a point of order, since there was an existing court order which had issued some conservatory orders with regards to how the motion was to be prosecuted, given that we are in the COVID-19 period. What happened is it didn't merge well with me, given that the governor was not being given a fair hearing, now that she was party to the motion. She was the person who was being prosecuted. She had not been given a chance to a fair hearing. The matter was just prosecuted on Monday, that we can go ahead and debate the motion, and then even the other parties were not informed that, and despite the existing court order, we are going to proceed with the motion the next day. So in that aspect, I raised on a point of order, saying that we could have, it was our duty as a county assembly to give notice to the governor that we have overruled the court order and we will be prosecuting the motion instantly, that is tomorrow. So as I was raising on those point of orders, if I may continue, Chair, other members who are not in support of the motion rose still on point of orders. Now that after looking at the back page where the signing of the impeachment motion was, their names were still part of the members who are supporting the impeachment motion, despite them not supporting the impeachment motion. So these members actually raised in point of orders, but there was usual disruptions in the House, and the speaker could not exactly give the point of orders. So at the end of the day, in protest, given that these members were being subjected to having their signatures, yet they never support the impeachment motion, the frustrations by the individual members brought what we saw on TV, members protesting since they duly have their rights, and they cannot be subjected to something they are not party to.
Okay, so what happened on the night before the impeachment motion was dealt with was not a usual occurrence. That is not something that happens ordinarily in the Kirinyaga County Assembly.
Ordinarily, I have never experienced such an issue. It was out of ordinary. Members choosing to spend the night at the chambers.
Okay, I want us to move on to the last part of the testimony. Thank you very much. I want us to move on to the last part of the testimony, of your testimony in chief this afternoon. And I want to show you a part of the governor's response. The governor has filed a response to the motion against her. Yeah, he's holding up, yeah. I want to show you a part of the governor's response, and I am showing the witness, chairman, the file marked travel documents, and I am showing him tab 14L. The file is marked travel documents. 14, it is tab 14L.
The USA trip?
Yes, the USA trip. Okay. Now, Chairman, in that tab, there are documents, and at the end of the documents, there is a series of photographs. And I want to ask this witness a few questions about those photographs.
We don't have the photographs. But you may furnish the chair with a copy of it.
Now, I want you to look at those photographs, and those photographs are introduced or provided by the governor as part of her response to the allegation that she did not make certain trips. But that's not what I want you to speak to. What I would like you to do, Kefa, is to look at the photographs and identify, tell the committee who you see and you recognize in those photographs.
Through the chair, I can recognize my governor, Kirinyaga County, Governor Mombi Waiguru. I can also fully recognize my majority leader, Kirinyaga County Assembly, Honorable James Morango. And I can tell that they are very happy and smiling.
All right. How many photos are there? That is the first photo. The next photograph?
Yeah, can we be told where these photographs are? Some of us are not having the photographs.
Let the secretariat.
They are under the
Facility.
tab that is marked Italy trip or 14L.
Italy or USA?
Italy.
Yeah, Italy. Members, are we there?
Yes, Chair, we have seen them.
If Honorable Gidiomi is there, then everybody is there, right? So you may proceed.
Yeah.
And in the second photograph?
In the second, through the chair, in the second photograph, I can still see the governor, and also I can see the majority leader, James Morango. They are well dressed in some white coats.
And the next photograph?
In the next chair, the next photograph, I can still recognize the James Morango, and I can recognize Her Excellency Governor Mombi Waiguru.
And how many other photographs are there with your colleague and your governor?
Repeat.
How many other photographs are there? Please just identify all the photographs that you can see. How many are there and who do you recognize?
I have, Chair, I can recognize 3 more photos, and I can still recognize James Morango, the majority leader, and Governor Mombi Waiguru, Governor Kirinyaga County.
All right. Is James Morango known to you?
Yes, he is a member of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga and the majority leader, Kirinyaga County Assembly.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Chair, nothing else for the witness.
Thank you. I'll invite Mr. Ndegwa to do cross-examination.
How are you, Mheshimiwa?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm well.
Okay.
I don't know whether I gathered correctly your educational background. Did I?
Okay. I can furnish you with the information. Okay.
Yes, please do.
I'm Kefa. I hold a certificate from the College of Insurance. I am a CPA, and currently I'm in the University of Nairobi School of Law.
Well, we shall be welcoming you soon. Now, Kefas, do you know how many members voted for the motion that day?
I think I can just consult my nini, my.
Let me just remind you, there were 23, yes?
Yeah, they are 23, correct.
Did you vote yourself?
No, I didn't.
Were you at the assembly?
Yes, I was.
Were you supporting the motion?
No, I was not supporting the motion.
What did you do? You abstained?
I did not abstain.
Yes.
What I did...
Okay, I'm satisfied with the answer. Let's move on. How many members abstained?
4.
Were those who abstained supporting the governor or the motion or against the motion?
I cannot be able to talk on behalf of other members.
Yes. It is your testimony that a document was brought to you for signature, yes?
Uh-huh.
Did you have a look at that document?
No, I didn't.
Do you know the content?
No, I don't.
Was it a motion? Was it a bill? What was it?
I said it was a paper which was supposed
It was
to be
a
signed.
paper.
Yeah.
You never had a look at it. You never had a look at it, yes?
I was required to sign, so I had to sign on a paper.
Do you have that paper with you?
Of course, I was not the person who was bringing the paper to the county assembly, and I
Yeah.
never signed. So
Other than you complaining that you never signed,
Yes.
is there any other member who is complaining that he signed and the signature was fraudulently obtained?
yeah, the members who were protesting that day during the impeachment
Their
motion
signatures
hearing,
were fraudulently obtained, yes?
that's what they were protesting.
Have they recorded any statement with any police office?
I was not among the
Have
members who
they
was
recorded
complaining.
any complaint?
I was not among the members who was complaining that my signature
You
was
came here
among
to
them.
testify on that perspective, correct?
I came here to testify that during the impeachment motion, members raised on a point of order saying that their signatures were on the impeachment motion and they did not append their signatures to that motion.
Do you have that member who complained before the committee?
The members who complained, they were vividly, they were the members
I'm
who were
asking
being
whether they
thrown
are
out.
before the committee, not whether they were in the TV.
I'm not sure whether
Okay, thank you. Move on. You are conversant with the provisions of the County Government Act, yes?
not all.
You are conversant with Section 91 of the County Government Act, yes?
Please read it to me.
You are conversant?
Please read it to me.
I will give it to you to read. Yes, proceed.
Section 91.
Yes.
Establishment of modalities and platforms for citizen participation.
Which is the first platform?
Information communication technology.
I bet.
Town hall meetings.
Wait, a moment, I'm leading you.
Yes.
There is an established statutory requirement that public participation can be done through the establishment of a web, correct?
That is just
I'm
one.
asking you,
that is
a moment, please.
Yes.
That is one of a statutory requirement, correct?
Correct.
Does the County Assembly of Kirinyaga have a website?
Yes.
How often do you visit the website? How often?
Not oftenly.
Not oftenly. Next issue.
Town hall meetings.
Town hall meetings. What is that?
Town hall meetings is organizing public meetings.
Public meetings, yes?
Yes.
And within the COVID-19 circumstances, that could not be done, yes?
That could not be done.
But it's not the only way public participation can be done, yes?
It's one of the key ways,
It's
depending.
not the only way. I'm asking you, it's not the only way public participation can be done, yes?
It's one of the main way when
It's
the
one of the
matter
main
and
way.
the nature of
Okay.
the content of the
hear you,
of the motion
Kefas.
before the House.
Kefas, I hear you.
Yes.
It is one of the main way.
Yes.
You have the act there with you. Read for me the word main.
You need to understand what I'm saying.
I know the law. You'll not teach me the law.
Yes.
Read for us that town halls is one of the main way.
Shall facilitate the establishment of structures for citizen participation, including
Yes.
town hall meetings.
Yes. Including social platforms, correct?
Including town hall meetings.
Yes. Move on.
Budget preparation validation fora, notice boards,
Yes.
announcing jobs.
Do you have a notice board at the assembly?
Yes.
Do you have notice board within the Kirinyaga town and within Kirinyaga County?
I'm a resident of Moya, so I'm not sure whether in Kirugoya we have.
Okay.
Yes.
I move on. You have satisfied that point. Kefas. As a member of the County Assembly of Kirinyaga County,
Yes.
are you privy to the correspondences that are exchanged in between the office of the clerk and any other office?
It is the duty of the clerks to furnish us with all the documents that pertains the members.
Yes.
Yes.
But not all the documents, yes?
Of course, not all the documents.
Good. Then can you authoritatively speak to the matter whether the speaker issued any correspondence to the governor or not?
I'm not privy to.
You're
what
not privy
saying.
to the circumstances.
Yes.
Marvelous. Now, you have imputed an improper motive on the part of the honorable members of Kirinyaga County, yes?
No.
By even saying that they slept, women and men, yes?
No.
Are you trying to paint them in bad light?
No.
Were you there that night?
No. You need to understand that I said...
Listen, I'm asking you questions, not
Yes.
you asking.
Uh-huh.
Was there a minor within the precinct?
Was
Was
didn't
there a
sleep.
minor within the precinct of the county assembly
I
on the
didn't
late night?
sleep in the county assembly during the night, so I
So
cannot
they were
tell who
adults,
slept.
yes?
Yes.
Good.
What?
Court order. You mentioned that there was a court order, yes?
Yes.
Were you privy to the content of the court order?
Yes.
Which court issued that order and in which case?
Come
Which
again?
court and in which case was the order issued from?
It was Justice Corril.
Yes. Do you know the number of the case?
Uh,
I remind you,
Yes,
it is
please.
123 of 2020, which I argued, yes?
I think I need to confirm that with the correct petition.
I then put it to you that it was 123. Do you
Yes.
know the content of that order?
Furnish me.
Do you know the content or you don't know the content? You are the one who was going to raise the issue, a point of order on the existence of an order.
There were conservatory orders which were...
Do you know the content? Are you privy to the content?
I'm privy to the orders which were issued.
And you are privy to the fact that there was a provision on the order that the motion shall stay pending the hearing of the petition or until COVID-19 was to be maintained, yes?
Mm-hmm.
You're aware of that limp?
Yes, sir, that's part of the...
Are you
that's part
aware
of the
that the
wordings.
governor later went to court when the motion was passed or when the motion was being discussed to get further conservatory orders, yes? You're aware or you're not aware?
On that note, I'm not.
Are you aware that Justice Corril dealt with that issue and said that that order was not violated in that particular order?
No, I'm not aware.
You are not aware?
Yes.
Kefas, during the subsistence of this meeting, did you file
Is it
any case?
Kefas or Kefa?
Kefa. Kefa for records. Kefa. Did you, during the subsistence of the motion, attempt to stop the county assembly from deliberating over the same?
During what?
The subsistence of the motion, or during the incubation of the motion. Do you recall you and a nominated MCA called Maureen attempting to stop the process?
Not stopping.
Do you recall?
I do recall raising on a point of order.
No, not at the assembly, at the court. Did you file petition number 119 of 2020?
Oh, the petition I filed was not to stop the motion. I filed the petition seeking that my rights of an enabling environment, given that the COVID-19 issue was
Yes.
here with us,
Yes.
and yet and by then the county assembly had not provided.
What was ruled in that petition?
Was
it dismissed or upheld?
It was dismissed.
It was dismissed.
Yes.
I take you to the photos, yes? The ones that you've just shown us. Who took the photos? And when were they taken?
These photos have been shown to me.
Yes.
They are part.
Who took the photos and when were they taken?
I don't know.
You do not know.
Yes.
Can you testify upon those photos?
I was asked to
Can
identify the people in the photo.
Did the person or did counsel tell you who took the photos?
No.
Did he tell you where they were taken from?
No.
Was it in Italy, India, Kenya, or America? From the photos.
From the photos, I can tell that this is not in Kenya. Yes. Yes.
Good,
I can
good,
tell
good,
that.
good.
This is not in Kenya. Boy.
That is interesting
Yes.
because you'll take me on a geographical tour of Kenya. Beginning now. Yes? What makes you discredit that photo from having been taken in Kenya? Give us a geographical tour.
Yes. Okay.
I want you to look at the one that is in the file, not the one that you're now looking at.
This is
Okay,
this
go
is
on.
in the file.
Yeah, ours is not colored, that is colored. Okay. What makes you think the photo was not taken in Kenya?
What makes me think
Yes.
the photo was not taken in Kenya? Number one, apart from the governor and the majority leader, I can see white men. white men, and I can also see.
I hope you're not a racist.
No, I'm not.
Let's just proceed. Kefas,
Yes.
is it all trips that are is it all trips that the governor traveled are in scrutiny in this case? Is it all trips that are under scrutiny in this case?
I'm not privy.
You're not privy.
Yes.
Mr. Ndegwa, your time is up. However,
Yes.
Honorable Kefa is a student of law, and he will soon be joining you in the law practice. So I will add you 5 more minutes so that you may have acquaintance with each other. Is that okay?
Chair.
Okay,
We are
5 more
humbled for
minutes.
your guidance.
Yes.
Kefas, yes?
Yes.
You're not able to tell where that photo was taken from, correct? You're not able to tell where the photo was taken from, yes?
Yes.
You're also not able to tell whether we are scrutinizing all the travels that the governor took or undertook.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
You are aware that we're scrutinizing that she actually gained beneficial, personal benefits from some of the trips, yes?
I am not.
Did the council show you a receipt dated 17th of April 2020?
No.
He never shown you. Good. Now, Kefas,
Yes.
what more do you have that can help your case?
I don't have a case.
No further questions.
Thank you. I will hand over to lead counsel to do re-examination.
Thank you very much, Chair.
You
Just
have
a few issues.
5 minutes only.
Just a few issues in re-examination. Kefa, you said you have had a look at the petition or the motion. Have you seen any evidence of public participation of any kind?
No.
When public participation is carried out by the assembly, would there be any use or any utility in notices being put on the notice boards within the county assembly?
Come again?
Public participation is being carried out by the assembly. Would it be effective or would it be of any use if notices of public participation were to be put up within the assembly?
Not really.
All right. Thank you. My colleague, Mr. Karani, will ask you a few questions.
Kefa, just a few questions.
Yes.
The first question I wanted to ask is, you read Section 91 of the County Governments Act.
Yes.
It talks about use of internet platforms. I want to ask, is the use of internet in the county, is that a use that can, based on the usage of internet in the county, can that be an effective tool of communication in Kirinyaga?
It cannot be an effective tool in Kirinyaga County.
Yeah, the question is speculative. We object.
He's a resident.
That objection is sustained.
No problem. I will rephrase the question. Based on the people you represent,
Yes.
let us focus on your ward,
The youth.
the youths, the population that you represent. What tool of public participation would be effective with them, based on even the 2
Speculative
years?
objection.
From the 2 years that you have been a member of the county assembly and holding that portfolio, what forum have you relied on for effective communication with the youth?
We have always relied on public meetings where we can, where they can orally present their views, and we can record their views and then take them to the assembly for consideration.
From the issue of the motion to impeach the governor,
Yes.
were those forums utilized?
Those forums were never utilized.
Thank you. Now, the other question I wanted to ask, Article 50 of the Constitution imposes a duty for there to be an impartial body when determining anything that may affect the rights of a person.
Yes.
Was the county assembly impartial based on what happened during these proceedings?
I am privy to the rules of natural justice that you cannot be a judge in your own case. the rules were never followed.
Thank you very much.
Before you finalize, in the normal process of public participation for the county assembly, is it the practice that there is a report on the public participation proceedings?
Yes.
Was there a report on the public participation proceedings for this motion?
No.
The photos that have been shown to you, you've been asked whether you can identify those photos and where they were taken. Have you ever seen those photos anywhere before this day?
At some point, I saw these photos being circulated on WhatsApp groups.
Yes. Who was circulating the photographs?
Chair, that is opening another new line of will not have. That never came in my cross-examination. We object.
So you have seen the photos before?
Yes.
All right. And Kefa, on the final issue on the right of the governor to appear, to your knowledge, was any report made in the House about the governor having been called to appear before the House for the purpose of this motion?
To my knowledge, no, I can't remember.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will now open up to honorable members to raise any concerns pertaining the presentation. But just before that, I would like to acknowledge the presence of a representative of the African Parliamentarian Network Against Corruption. Honorable Senator Rose Nyamunga is here with us as an observer. She will not contribute, but we just acknowledge her presence. Karibu sana, Senator. We'll start with Honorable Judith Pareno.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Kefa, I just have two issues. This issue of public participation is a very pertinent issue when it comes to issues that touch the citizens of this country. It is in the Constitution that we must have public participation. And yesterday, a witness told us that they did indirect, I think it was David, Honorable David, MCA, said that they did indirect public participation. Are you aware of any, as an MCA who is sitting in that assembly, are you aware of any public participation that, not necessarily town halls, but what was direct? Are you aware of any public participation as an MCA?
Chair, Honorable Senator, I am only aware that the clerk issued a notice in the dailies requiring members to submit their written memorandum. But the written memorandum, I have not seen them being on the floor of the House. So
you have seen nothing like memorandums submitted to that effect?
Yes.
Okay, then you in your evidence this afternoon, you said that the governor was not given fair hearing.
Yes.
Can you elaborate to us what you meant or what you understand by not being given fair hearing? What happened that you ended up concluding that the governor was not given fair hearing?
Chair, Honorable Senator, the governor there was a motion to impeach the governor, and there were grounds which had been attached on the motion. The normal procedure would have been to invite the governor or to invite an independent body to investigate the issues before discussing and voting for the impeachment motion.
So are you saying that the governor was not invited, or what are you saying about that?
What I'm saying is the allegations that were being alleged, they were never substantiated before the floor of the House.
Are you aware whether the governor was ever given these allegations?
No.
Okay, then finally, you raised a very important issue about proceedings of the assembly, that there are those who who are opposed, but found their names listed as among those that were supporting the motion. Are you able to name any of them? Are you able to give evidence to that effect?
I was present during the impeachment, the day when the impeachment motion was being discussed in the House, and the members who are raising point of orders in protest of having their names being part of the impeachment motion signing. I can tell that one member from honorable member from Karumande Ward, honorable member nominated to represent gender, Honorable Lucy Njeri, honorable member for Kabare Ward was also protesting towards having his signatures appearing in the motion. And also Honorable Beatrice Mitaru and Honorable Frederick Vudi.
So how many would you say were shouting in the assembly, wanting to express their opposition, that their names were listed?
Chair, Honorable Senator, I will not say they were shouting. They were. I think they were raising on point of orders, yes, but they were not being accorded that chance. They were around 4 members.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Maybe just on the issue of members trying to remove their signatures from the motion, your standing orders, do they allow members to remove signatures? Once you append your signature, can you remove your signature from the motion?
Yes.
You're sure they allow?
I think it's, yes, I'm sure they allow.
Okay. Shall be requiring you to, or we shall be referring to the standing orders to make that determination, whether they allow the standing orders.
The copy of the standing orders,
before that, Chair, with your permission.
Yes.
With your permission, the issue, this came during the COVID-19 times, when these members didn't. You remember the explanation I gave about the signing issue and how it happened. The members told me in protest, as they were presenting their issues, that they have been looking and they have been trying to follow the standing orders to have their signatures removed from the impeachment motion, to no avail.
So you'll furnish the chair with a copy of your standing order so that we ascertain that as we proceed. Honorable Gidiomi, Council, you may furnish me with the standing orders.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I have perused the photographs which are in this document, and there's nothing to suggest that the photographs were taken either in Italy or Britain. That is one. The other one is the stamping of the passport. The stamps which were done in Kenya here are clear, but another one in Dubai is also partly clear, but the other one is not clear. So we need to actually know where this stamp was done.
Earlier on, I had made a ruling requesting clear copies of the passport, and I believe, Council, you are still on your way coming.
I will be with you shortly.
Thank you. Yes. Any other issue? Yes. Honorable Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Kefa. Kefa, are you one of the people that voted against the motion?
No, I didn't vote.
But you did not vote for it either?
Yes.
You abstained, or you were not? What was the constraint?
After I rose on point of orders, I just felt not being in place to continue sitting in the assembly, so I excused myself.
So you abstained, more or less. Is that what we should take it as?
Yes.
As abstention?
Yes, yes.
I think we have the Hansard report from the County Assembly, which we can, the committee, I'm sure, will make a reference to with regards to some of the things that you've told us. But how many you said, did you say that were people that had their names put on the names appeared as having voted for the motion against Honorable Waiguru?
I said I'm not sure, since I excused myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think then we'll just refer to the Hansard. I think we have the Hansard report in
Yes.
there? Okay, great. No further questions. Thank you.
Honorable Michael Mbito, then we come back to Honorable Githiomi.
A quick one, Kefa. Tell me, you mentioned that there were MCAs who wanted the signatures expunged from the list.
Yes.
Is there a reason why they didn't send statements?
Come again,
Is there a reason why they have not made it public, or rather even sent a statement to this committee with the same?
During
You're saying that
Yes.
there are some MCAs who signed the impeachment motion and wanted their signatures expunged.
Yes.
Why haven't they put statements?
They were raising on point of orders during.
Yeah, I can see there are about 8 trips which were made. I can see one for USA, France, Naivasha, USA, China, Germany, United Kingdom, USA, UK, Italy. Travel. Now, the only trip that we've been guided on is the one on Italy and UK. What happened to the other 7 trips?
Is that a question to him?
Yeah, to Kefa.
No,
He's
that's
the
not.
witness before us.
I don't know.
I don't think, Honorable Githiomi, the question is well directed.
Okay, let
Though
me put
you
it-
can direct that question through the
let me
chair and
save
place it where
Kefa.
it belongs.
Let me save Kefa, but ask this question. What happened to the other 6 trips? Did the governor travel to the other countries or not? Because the only indicator we have is that she went to UK and Italy, which we have also not proved because of the staff.
Chair, if the senator, with your permission, wants a response from us as counsel for the governor, that can be responded to immediately, including the issue of the passport that he raised.
I will hold that question for now because we are having a witness here.
Yes.
We are raising issues concerning his testimony before this committee. So kindly restrict yourself to the borders of his testimony.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Githiomi, stand guided.
Yeah, I start guided.
Thank you.
But I will still
Yes.
demand an answer.
I will give you an
council.
opportunity later to ask directly the question to the council. Thank you. Honorable Pai.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I must congratulate Kefa for being nominated to represent youth. Kefa, the party of Jubilee nominated you to represent youth, correct?
Yes.
Can you say in your own statement, are the youth well represented in Kirinyaga County?
Yes.
Thank you.
That is a question is a question, huh? The relevance of the question is subjective again. So as the chair, I will admit that question, that Honorable Kefa is representing the youth of Kirinyaga ably.
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Honorable Kajwang.
Chair, thank you. I'll probably pick it up from where my brother Senator Pai has left it. I know it was a very loaded question. But first of all, Kefa, congratulations.
Thank you.
Article 1 of the Constitution, sovereignty of the people. All sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. And I believe that must be the background where you're saying that the people should have been consulted.
Correct.
I've looked at your witness statement. It does not address the allegations, and charges against the governor. Even though I agree with what counsel said earlier in the morning, that there's nothing that stops us from checking how the motions carried through the assembly. So I would assume that what we are doing is relevant. How many motions have you sponsored in the assembly so far?
Around 2.
Any bills?
Yes?
Any bills?
No.
You are there in your capacity as the representative of the youth of Kirinyaga.
Yes.
In those motions you sponsored,
Yes.
how did you get the views of the youth? How did you engage the youth that you represent?
I organized public meetings.
Were they specifically for the youth or for the entire population?
What happens on the ground is you will invite the youths, and at the end of the day, you will end up having the members of public coming for the meeting.
I have seen in the Hansard, you put up a very spirited fight, and I must say you are a strong man, because I've seen, despite shouts of sitting down, points of order, you are present in the assembly.
Thank you.
When you are making those comments, did you go to consult the youth so that you can say them on their behalf?
Yes. Okay. I am representing the youths. I am a youth through the chair, and number one, there are those instances as a normal human being, you will react towards an issue before you.
Which is captured in Article 1(2) of the Constitution, that sovereign power may be exercised directly or through democratically elected representatives. When you speak on behalf of the youth, it is in pursuit of that article, isn't it?
Correct.
So the sovereign power can be exercised directly or can be delegated.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will allow retired Judge Stuart Mazayo.
I have no questions for this witness.
Good. Any other concern? Honorable Kefa, you have 1 minute to sum up your testimony and remind the youth of Kirinyaga that you represent them ably.
Thank you, Chair. I must say I'm happy to be in this house, and I must thank you for according me the chance to be in front of these honorable members and present my views. My assurance to the youths of Kirinyaga is that I will always ensure that they are accorded a fair hearing and that what is duly supposed to be theirs will always be theirs. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and may God bless you. So we shall now allow the second, the last witness from the defense side to come. Again, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, in the spirit of power sharing and recognizing the position of women in leadership, I wish to allow my able vice chair to come and take over from me as I retreat as a member of this committee. Honorable Abshiro, you'll now take up the role of the chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Also want to direct the sergeant at arms to ensure that our respective seats are sanitized so that we can facilitate the exchange. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think we'll let Chair get comfortable while we continue. We have quorum. He'll join us. Honorable members, we shall continue. Can we allow in the next, who is the next witness? Is it Joe Muriuki?
Yes, Madam Chair. The
Yes.
next and the last witness is Joe Muriuki. His statement is on page 79 to 84 of the response that has been filed on behalf of the governor.
Thank you, Council. Honorable members, please be advised accordingly. The witness statement is on page 79 of the governor's response to the charges. Welcome, Mr. Muriuki. You may take an oath or affirmation. Which one would you?
Okay.
Please go ahead.
I, Joe Muriuki, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this special committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Welcome, Bwana Muriuki. We have your witness statement, and we're going to allow the same rules that apply. We'll have 15 minutes of examination in chief, 10 minutes of cross-examination, and 5 minutes of re-examination. That's only if necessary. If not, council may waive and cede that as well. So you're welcome. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Joe Muriuki, County Secretary, Kirinyaga County.
Right. You're the County Secretary, Kirinyaga County.
Yes, through Chair.
All right. Please tell the committee what your responsibilities are as County Secretary.
Chair, my responsibilities are clearly spelled out in Section 44 of the County Government Act, which includes, besides handling cabinet-related matters, that I'm also the head of the County Public Service.
Thank you. Now, are you aware that a motion for the impeachment of the governor of the county where you're the County Secretary has been filed before the Senate?
Yes, I'm aware.
Have you had an opportunity to read that motion?
Yes, I have.
Now, I just want you to confirm whether you have written a statement in response to that motion.
Yes, I have.
Okay. And would you like to produce that statement, Bwana Muriuki, as your testimony or as part of your testimony in chief before this committee?
Yes, I do.
All right. Madam Chair, again for the record, that is the statement that runs from pages 79 to 84 of the governor's response.
Noted.
Yeah. Mr. Muriuki, I would like you to begin by telling the committee about perhaps the area I want you to shed light on at the beginning is the health.
Mr. Muriuki, you may remove your mask. I'm told that your voice is not very clear. Yeah, thank you.
The area that I want you to begin to shed light on is the health sector in Kirinyaga.
Is there any specific area?
Yes, there is a specific area where I want us to start. And I want to ask you whether you recall whether there was a strike at any time in respect, oh, sorry, not in respect, by health workers in Kirinyaga.
Yes, Chair, there was a strike, and that was as a result of the notice that they gave on the 20th of May 2019.
The notice was given on the 20th of May.
Yes.
When did the strike commence?
My understanding is before the end of that month.
And do you know why the strike took place?
Yes, Chair, there were a number of things that they raised, ranging from promotions and training. Those were among others.
Promotions and training.
Yes.
Those were the only issues that were the subject of the strike.
Those ones that I recall were the primary ones that they had cited.
And how was the strike resolved?
Let me mention this, that prior to the strike, they sent us a letter where they wanted to have an engagement with the executive. But before the period that they had given us had expired, they issued that notice. So consequently, the executive had no option than to go to the court to seek some legal redress. So the executive went to court.
So is it your testimony, Mr. Muriuki, that the issue of the strike was resolved through court or through litigation?
Yes, yes, Chair.
Do you recall what resolution the court gave in respect of that dispute?
Yes, Chair. There are two, may I use the word adjectives that were used? One is that it was unprotected, and two, it was illegal.
The court found that the strike was unprotected and illegal.
Yes, Chair.
And how did the county government of Kirinyaga respond thereafter?
The county tried to see whether it could engage or persuade the striking workers to resume work, even as their grievances were being addressed. And despite that, those efforts, and even warning, telling them the consequences of engaging in unprotected and illegal strike, they still ignored and went on strike, and never even honored, even when a moratorium was extended to them. Even after the court ruling, some still did not respect or take that one seriously.
And what was the county government's response to the continued strike by these health workers in Kirinyaga?
Faced with the responsibility of any government, and more so the county government, to protect the interests of the residents of Kirinyaga, it had to undertake some measures to prevent the collapse of the health services in the county. So consequently, eventually, through the Public Service Board, it did advertise for those positions for the workers that it did not resume work within the stipulated period.
There is a gap in your testimony. You are advertising for positions and your employees are still employed by the county government. I'll ask the question again. What was the county government's response to the employees' continued remainder on strike?
They were fired through County Public Service Board.
How many of them were fired?
My correction is there were 549.
549 were fired.
Yes.
Oh. Go on. You were saying that they were hired, or the county government then hired new staff.
Yes. It hired 359 through County Public Service Board because 185 already took advantage of the moratorium.
Okay. So it fired, let's just get those figures correct again. How many were fired?
549.
How many took advantage of the moratorium?
185.
Okay, so that we get the correct perspective, before the strike, how many employees did the Kirinyaga county government employ in its health sector?
1,265.
So you had an establishment of 1,265 health workers.
Yes, through Chair.
All right. And as a result of the strike, how many were terminated?
549 through Chair.
And how many did not go on strike?
716 through Chair.
And how many took advantage of the moratorium?
185.
So after the strike, and after those who returned to work and those who took advantage of the moratorium, how many staff did the county government of Kirinyaga now have in its health establishment?
A staff medical health complement of 1,260.
1,260.
Yes, through Chair.
All right. Not very much difference from what you had initially.
No, through Chair.
Now, there was testimony that was led yesterday by none other than the chairperson of the County Public Service Board in Kirinyaga about the hiring of some 77 health workers who he said were hired by the County Public Service Board and were not either being paid or in the payroll. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes, through Chair.
All right. What do you have to say about that?
Through Chair, I would say that it looks to me that when the County Public Service Board undertook to replace the workers that went on strike, that reconciliation was not done properly. So consequently, by the time they decided to hear unilaterally appeals with the involvement of even the executive, I think they did not recognize or take cognizance of the fact that they had already gotten a total staff complement that was only, which was almost more or less equal to the number before the strike. So consequently, the 77 were going to push the numbers post-strike level to about 1,332. Now, Chair, the challenge with this is this. They are twofold. One is that the Public Service Board decided to hear appeals on workers that it had dismissed when it was clear that that mandate rested with the Public Service Commission per Section 77 of the County Government Act 2012. And the second thing is that the numbers that they wanted to reinstate to the payroll was going to push the annual payroll by about 81 million, money that was not factored in the budget.
So just to get it clear, Bwana Muriuki, who employs or who hires staff for the county government in Kirinyaga?
Chair, Sections 59 and 63 gives that mandate to the County Public Service Board.
And I take it that he who hires is able to fire?
Yes, by the same provisions, especially Sections 59.
And who terminated the employees who went on strike and were terminated? Who terminated their employment?
County Public Service Board.
And who hired their replacements?
County Public Service Board.
Did you have, or did the county government have budgetary provision for the 77 or these 77 additional health workers?
Through Chair, no, and I confirmed that, the finance.
Now, there was testimony that was led yesterday that seemed to suggest or seemed to paint the state of health facilities in Kirinyaga as deplorable. As the county secretary, as the person administratively in charge of the county, what is your response to those or to that testimony? I'm sorry.
Through Chair, with due respect, any person can make any comment or any statement depending on whether you are addressing yourself to gallery. I've been in that county for even the previous administration, and I'm still there. And I can tell you for a fact that the health services in Kirinyaga, even before strike, were not deplorable as painted. That is incorrect.
In between or subsequent to the strike, has the county government of Kirinyaga made any improvements? Has it made any investments in its health facilities?
Yes, through Chair. A number of initiatives were done, including we have right now a functional, well-equipped eye unit. We also have renovated
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate.
1, wake up, wake up. 2, brush up, brush up. 3, smile through your day with a fresh breath and
guidance as to how Kenya can best adopt a home-based care approach, particularly for asymptomatic cases. So, ladies and gentlemen, the positive cases that we are now reporting, as you all know, are a result of community transmission. And we are aware now that the disease is firmly within our urban and rural settings. And as of yesterday, 40 out of 47 counties had reported cases of COVID-19, which amounts to about 85% of counties in the country. Nairobi is leading with 2,428 cases, followed with Mombasa with 1,304 cases, followed by Busia and Kajiado, which have had many cases in terms of cross-border truck drivers. And we have the numbers at 361 and 179 cases respectively. The other cases that we've had 155 from Kiambu, Uasin Gishu has had 66, Migori 59, Kilifi 52, Kwale 51, Machakos 44, Nakuru 32, Garissa 25, Taita Taveta 25, Kisumu 20, Mandera 18, Wajir 17. And this information is available for you, articulating the cumulative caseload per county in the country. Mombasa and Nairobi city counties have had the highest infection rate of COVID-19. And we've been able to look at this and define that Mombasa has an attack rate of about 107, whereas Nairobi has about an attack rate of 55. And these statistics are important because it tells us that the risk of transmission, the risk of you getting COVID-19 is higher in Mombasa compared to Nairobi counties. And again, we're working to ensure that we are actually able to define risk per county as we continue going forward. And therefore, from all these statistics, it becomes less tenable to isolate confirmed COVID-19 patients in hospital-based treatment. And therefore, as we roll out the home-based care protocol, it's important to know that we are focusing on our high-burden counties, particularly those that have a high attack rate. And as highlighted, that is Mombasa and Nairobi. We are working with community health workers and volunteers to ensure that we educate our households and our caregivers in this program. And the training, as I've said, is targeted particularly in the high-risk counties, and this is where we will start the rollout of the home-based care protocol. In terms of training, some of you might wonder, what exactly is this training focused on? And the idea is that we're able to go to households, we're able to get in touch with the family members take them through what it means to be eligible for home-based care. So not every single Kenyan is eligible for home-based care. There's actually a criteria that determines who would be able to be enrolled into the home-based care program. We then review the feasibility. How are you able to actually ensure that the home-based care program is working in your household? And then what are the procedures that need to be in place? How do we monitor? How shall the healthcare worker be able to engage with you to ensure that we're looking after you and your family and ensuring that you're adhering to the home-based care protocols? It is important to know that our training goes further to empower individuals and households with basic knowledge, skills, and competencies to be able to enable them to function as caregivers of COVID-19 patients. And in addition to this, we are utilizing our other community-based structures, such as the Nyumba Kumi initiative and the community health committees, to ensure that there is actually compliance of these protocols. For eligibility, eligible patients for this program are usually assessed by a healthcare worker. And as mentioned and highlighted yesterday by the DG, the first criteria is that you have to be COVID-19 positive. Number two, you have to be asymptomatic. That means you do not have or you do not present with the symptoms ama zile dalili za COVID-19. Or if you have any symptoms, then you have very mild symptoms and you have no underlying medical conditions. Asymptomatic patients are therefore put in this program. And in terms of discharge, how does a discharge criteria look like? Discharge happens at 14 days from the date of the first COVID-19 test. And this must be in line with ensuring that at the point of discharge, this patient does not have any symptoms. So you've been at home for 14 days. We did your first test. It was COVID-19 positive. We've come back at 14 days. We've done a subsequent test and you're negative and you have no symptoms. If we have mild symptomatic patients, these ones will only be discharged if they have not developed fever for at least 72 hours. And this is important. As highlighted earlier, we are focusing home-based care on patients who do not have symptoms or those who have mild symptoms. If you have mild symptoms and one of the symptoms you have is fever, raised temperature, then it would mean that you're only discharged from home-based care upon you not recording a fever for 72 hours, and that you're also not on any medication that would be helping suppress your fever. Now, in the event that your condition deteriorates, because we appreciate that, yes, you could be asymptomatic and you're enrolled in the home-based care protocol, and perhaps at some point your condition deteriorates, what actions can you take as a caregiver? One, you call the 719 number. You could also do the text message, and you could also contact your designated healthcare worker, and a process of admission would then ensue from that point. Now, onto our COVID-19 situation. In terms of statistics today, we tested 4,859 samples, of which 254 people tested positive for the virus. Therefore, this brings to total our country caseload to 5,206. The total number of tests conducted thus far cumulatively from the beginning is 151,396,000 tests. All the positive cases are Kenyans, and we have 186 of them as male and 68 as female. And it's important to note the trend continues. Our male patients, our Kenyans, our fathers and brothers continue to be the ones who are highly afflicted with COVID-19. With regard to the 254 positive cases, in terms of county distribution, we have Nairobi having 127, Mombasa having 36, Migori 29, Kajiado 22, Kiambu 12, Busia 9, Uasin Gishu 5, Murang'a 3, Machakos and Kilifi have registered 2 cases, and we have 1 case from Nakuru, Siaya, Taita Taveta, Garissa, Isiolo, Kakamega, and Kisii, all having 1 case. We do also have distribution in terms of sub-county, and I'll highlight some of the key ones. I won't go through to all of them. In Nairobi, from the 127 cases, we now have 32 cases from Westlands. In terms of Dagoretti North, we have 18. Lang'ata has 16. Kamukunji has 14. And Embakasi East has 12. In terms of Mombasa, we have 36 cases from Mombasa, of which 11 are from Mvita. Jomvu has 8. Kisauni and Likoni both have 5. And in Migori, the area that has the most caseload, would be from Suna East. In Kiambu, of the 12 cases that we've mentioned, most 4 each are from Thika and Kiambu town. In Busia, in terms of the 9 cases, we have 7 from Teso South. In Wasingishu, the 5 cases, we have 3 from Ainabakoi, and Tabo and Keses have 1 case each. In Machakos, we have a case in Athi River and 1 in Matungulu. And in Kilifi, we have 2 cases in Rabai and 1 in Kilifi South. We will provide you with this disaggregated case list. What we are noticing is that now the disease is really spreading across all the different wards within the country in terms of the counties that are afflicted. Yesterday, there was a question with regards to the testing in the country in terms of the numbers tested positive out of the cumulative number tested, and we've also provided this information for you today. Again, I won't go through it all, but if we can touch on a few counties. With regards to Busia, in terms of the samples that were collected in the last 24 hours, from Busia, we have about 9 cases that tested positive out of a total of 353. So what this means is that in the last 24 hours, we have a positivity rate in Busia of 3%. I'm going to try and pick out perhaps what we'd have in Nairobi. In Nairobi, we have 127 cases, of which in terms of samples collected, we did 2,484 in Nairobi County. Again, giving us 5% positivity rates in Nairobi. And it is important, and I'm sure we'll ask the DG to expound on what it means in terms of this positivity rate. We have it differing. We have counties such as Kajiado in the last 24 hours having a positivity rate of 15%. I'm sure the question will be, what does that mean for Kajiado? We have counties like Kakamega with 1 positive case out of 5 samples collected, so 20% positivity. We shall highlight to you perhaps during the question and answer session what this means. Ideally, it is a statistic that is useful for us. However, it needs to also be interpreted with caution and in view of looking at other statistical figures, but I'm sure the DG will talk on that. On a positive note, we have discharged 41 patients from various hospitals, bringing the tally of recoveries to 1,823. And our gratitude goes to the healthcare workers for the good work. However, sadly, we've lost 2 more patients to the disease, bringing a total number of those who've succumbed to 130. And our thoughts and prayers are with the families and friends of those who have departed. And as we conclude, we would like to thank our healthcare workers, and in particular our community health volunteers, who are supervising the home-based isolation care program in conjunction with experts in the Ministry of Health, and we thank them for their commitment and dedication. And the success of this program really is pegged on them and the adherence of these protocols. And as highlighted, the protocols are available at the Ministry of Health's website. You Google www.health.go.ke, you'll be able to see these protocols there, articulating all the measures that need to be taken, how you're able to actually enroll into the program, what the eligibility criteria is, how monitoring and supervision is conducted within the program, how discharge looks like, and what follow-up would also look like upon discharge. And finally, let us all remember that our first line of defense to beat this virus remains the adherence to the containment measures. And as we all know, these are washing our hands with soap and running water, maintaining physical distance, and wearing of masks when we're in public places. Thank you. Questions?
Hi, my name is Graham Kajila from The Standard. My question is about the home-based care guidelines. Do we have any criteria that could make you stop, like a patient who is at home, is on home-based care, and then you see how they are behaving and you decide that this patient is supposed to go back to hospital? That is apart from developing any serious symptoms. Because I'm asking this because a family member probably could get the disease, and will the family member still be handled as a home-based care patient? And the other question is, how does the number of samples actually mirror the number of people who have been tested? Because I understand you say that we can get samples from the nose and the throat. Those could be 2 samples from 1 patient. So how many patients exactly, or people exactly have we tested?
I'm Purity Museo from KBC. My first question, would you kindly elaborate on why Mombasa County has a higher attack rate as compared to other counties? Does it have anything to do with the containment measures? And then you said that 78% of patients are asymptomatic, and WHO again says that these patients cannot transmit this virus. We have over 5,000 cases right now. Who exactly is transmitting this virus? Is it the 12% that is asymptomatic? On the fatalities, lastly, kindly an elaboration on the 130 cases that we have so far. How many lost their lives while receiving treatment, let's say, under critical care, and how many lost their lives while at home?
Nayoma Sampao from NTV. My question is on about home-based care. What is the criteria of following up to ensure that the process is effective? Again, South Africa has started testing vaccines. I would like to know what is Kenya's contribution to that?
Okay, I'm Haemba from Ebro TV. My question is, maybe with more than 40 counties so far affected, it actually implies that almost the entire country is affected with this pandemic. Maybe my question is, as Kenya as a country that is actually embedded, that actually embraces the social cultural beliefs, what is the way forward maybe for the cultural beliefs of some of the communities in the country which actually maybe practices certain beliefs in certain periods within the country? The way forward.
Thank you. My name is Ben Kirira from K24 TV, and my first question is on cases of home care patients. We have had claims of home care patients are leaving their houses without protection. Are you in a position to confirm or deny this? My second question is on teenage pregnancies. Last briefing yesterday, you mentioned that in a survey conducted last year, you found out that there are 4,000 teenage pregnancies. Also, in a recent briefing, Dr. Patrick Amal mentioned that there are 400,000 teenage pregnancies according to a demographic health survey in 2019. Can you kindly elaborate on that? And lastly, of the 4,859 cases tested in the last 24 hours, I would like to know where do you place these people as they await their results? Do they go home, or do you have a certain isolation facility you keep them as they await their results? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your questions. I'll start with Graham's question with regards to the criteria for stopping home-based care approach, and I think there have been numerous questions that are tied to this. We have another one regarding the monitoring of home-based care. We have Ben asking whether patients, are walking around in terms of home-based care and how we're monitoring them. And we also have, I think those are the main questions touching on home-based care. So yes, indeed, like we said, our protocols, were really developed in conjunction with community leaders and with Kenyans themselves. And the team within the ministry was able to engage along with partners. What does it mean to actually have home-based care set up in Kenya, in Nairobi, in Mombasa? How will that work? And what we did is that there was actually a pilot exercise that was undertaken. And through the pilot exercise, we were able to come up with a criteria. And as highlighted, and the DG will expound on this, there's an assessment of who can actually be eligible to home-based care. And part of this eligibility, beyond being positive, is really the feasibility or the ability of you to be able to undertake home-based care. Now, breach of home-based care is actually a breach, one, on your own, health and that of your community, and that we would take seriously. And so patients who are on this home-based care are actually under follow-up, and it's a follow-up process that is tiered. So you have the community supporting and participating in terms of ensuring that there's friendly supervision and enforcement of that. We have looked and tried to define mechanisms of how we can actually identify the households in a particular estate or in a particular village who would be undergoing home-based care. Of course, noting that we do not want to create a situation of stigma when it comes to those who are undergoing home-based care. So it's important to note that this is a program one. It has undergone a pilot evaluation. It is something that we are monitoring as we continue deploying it. It is a program that we are taking extreme caution in terms of deploying it and ensuring that we are actually able to ensure that there is that monitoring and evaluation. And I'll ask the DG upon conclusion here that he elaborates further on this program in terms of the questions asked. There's a very good question regarding the samples, in terms of when we say you have 1,000 and something samples taken, are we taking into account the nasal swab and the oral swab? Yes, so for you to actually be able to undergo, a testing, procedure in terms of COVID-19, you do require those two swabs and samples taken. And remember, as we've highlighted in the past, there are patients who actually would have consumption of, more than one set of swabs and oropharyngeal swabs. But again, I'll ask the DG to highlight on this in terms of sample collection. And if, at the end of the day, I think the question is, when we say we've done, 4,000 tests, are we saying those were 4,000 swabs, oral swabs, 4,000 nasal swabs? And the answer to that would be yes and no, depending, because there are patients who end up having 2, 3, swabbing procedures done at the same time. And remember, it's important, even as you take the swab, you actually conduct the procedure well to be able to get the sample that you're after. And so sometimes there could be discarding of one sample or one swab. With regards to the question in terms of the disease having, affected most counties, yes, it's true. Right now we do have a record of 40, and that's why we've been trying to now share our positivity rate and our attack rates in terms of county distribution. And we've always said there's already community transmission within the country, and if we don't continue adhering to our measures, then the idea is that at the end of it all 47 counties might actually be afflicted. And we've said in the coming days, remember, perhaps we've not reached our peak yet. So our numbers shall continue rising, and this is a situation that we will see evolving. There's a question regarding, from Purity Museo, in terms of why Mombasa, why Nairobi, what is the difference there? And again, an issue that is under study, and it is a function of multiple variables when you look at that. There are certain, perhaps, should I say, variables when it comes to adherence of measures. For Nairobi, we all know one of the reasons why we are one of the high burden counties is because we had our import cases coming here, and that's the same situation in terms of Mombasa. At the beginning of this pandemic, importation started within Nairobi and Mombasa. And it's important to note also, perhaps because of the high mobility, these are rural, these are urban towns that have a lot of activity, high mobility, a lot of contact between individuals, and these are factors that have contributed to those counties having the highest attack rate. Perhaps going forward, the question becomes, how will this attack rate evolve? And could this attack rate actually be a measure of each and every one of us when it comes to containment measures? Because remember, we've told you it's a measure of risk. So if you're in Mombasa and Nairobi, then it is expected that you actually are more, on guard in terms of ensuring that you're adhering to the measures. There is a question on asymptomatic cases, again from Purity Museo. Again, we are trying to study the disease, and I do remember actually at the beginning, of this pandemic, we felt that perhaps caution was necessary in terms of asymptomatic cases. A lot of studies have been undertaken to be able to find out at what point in the disease is an individual actually most, transmittable. At what point of the disease are you shedding the most virus, meaning you're dangerous in that phase of the disease. And right now, the data varies in terms of this. We had indication of, from day 1 to 5. 5 is the day to watch, 5 to 10. This keeps changing in terms of new emerging evidence. But what we want to say is we want to still take caution. Even if you're asymptomatic and you're positive in terms of COVID-19, you still have to adhere to the measures, and you still have to, observe your hand washing, observe your social distancing. There is a question in terms of fatality. Again, the DG will expound on this. What I do know is, at least from yesterday and today, some of the fatalities we have are actually patients who are diabetic and hypertensive. And that's why, as emphasized in past cases, that lifestyle diseases remain to be one of the impediments in terms of the coronavirus disease. And we really, really need to ensure, if you're diabetic, if you're hypertensive, if you're pre-diabetic, ensure that you're actually putting in place measures to protect yourself. And these measures have been highlighted: a healthy diet, good nutrition, ensuring that you're able to, exercise, and then most importantly, that you're actually taking your medication. So that remains important. And DG, perhaps Purity the DG will highlight for you in terms of our most recent fatalities, if those happened at home or in the hospital. We had a very interesting question regarding culture. And perhaps just to expound further, I'm not sure what we were leading on to, but the main thing remains in terms of public health. When you're trying to deploy a public health intervention, the social norms and the culture of a community become very important, because again, as we all know, the community is at the front line in terms of fighting this disease, you and I. And so, of course, it becomes important as we roll out, one, our communication, to take into consideration what societal cultural norms exist. I am aware that different communities have gone ahead and perhaps put suspensions into some of the activities that usually take place. I did come across, in terms of the media, issues to do with circumcision and the seasons. And perhaps what I'd do is applaud those communities who've taken that bold move to put a pause on some of the cultural practices that we have, so that we can be able to protect, ourselves and the country. And that can be applauded, is applaudable and remarkable that communities can make that move. And this is happening across the world. I'm sure you've seen for Hajj, there's been suspensions in terms of the number of people who can go for for the pilgrimage. And so we are expecting to see modifications in how we really undertake our social and cultural norms. And this is welcome, especially now when community is what matters. So perhaps DG, expanding a bit more on the home-based care protocol and the testing, as well as the fatalities. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam CS. Let me start with a question on the fatalities. Yes, of the 130 cases that we have reported dead, majority of these people have been people who are over 60 years, and majority of them have been people with other coexisting medical conditions. Initially, especially in Mombasa, in the early stages, we recorded a number of home-based deaths. But because of intensified interventions and behavior change communication led by the Mombasa team, we are recording fewer and fewer community-based deaths. The deaths we report today actually occurred in facilities, one at Kenyatta University Teaching Referral Hospital, and the other one occurred at Avenue Hospital, same as what happened yesterday. So majority of our people are actually going to seek services in a health facility, and for those who have lost their lives, majority of them have lost their lives at the facility level. In terms of the home-based care criteria, of course, number one is that you must have a positive COVID-19 test confirmed on laboratory. You must be asymptomatic, as Madam CS said, and you must not have any coexisting medical condition. We need to review where you live so that you can be able to have space that you can be able to stay during the period of care. This space must be well ventilated, so it must have appropriate aeration. You must have a caregiver who can be able to support you and whom you can be able to train to do very basic things like issue of infection prevention control measures. Of course, for home-based care, you require some PPEs, basic PPEs. You may require a thermometer, or the community health volunteer will be able to check on you to check your temperature on a daily basis. You'll require separate bathroom and toilet facilities. And there should be no other vulnerable person living with you. That is anybody who is over 60 years or anybody with a chronic existing condition. And this therefore means that we place a very high premium on home-based care on the individual and the caregiver to be able to undertake all these interventions. Of course, breach of any home-based care guidelines means we quickly move you to institutional isolation facility. As concerning the testing, yes, we take 2 samples, one deep from your throat through your nose, then the other one through your throat, and all these are treated as one. So even if you take 2 specimens, we treat that as one specimen for assessment. Those are not 2 tests, because the one deep inside your throat is more sensitive in picking the viral particle than the one through your throat. So what we are trying to do is just to ensure that in case you are positive, we don't miss anything. Something that I forgot about home-based care is that monitoring will continue on a day-to-day basis, and we will also have what we call a symptomatology triage, where each and every day the community health volunteer or the healthcare worker will come to ask you certain questions regarding your progress, like whether you have developed a cough in the process of your disease, whether you have any difficulty in breathing, or any other symptoms which may require that now you move from home-based care to institutional isolation. There was a question on the teenage pregnancies. Yes, the correct figure. On an annual basis from the Kenya Demographical Survey of 2019, the number is about 400,000 girls aged 10 to 19 years who get pregnant. But the figure that came from Machakos on further interrogation is actually untrue, because we have gone to our database to mine the figures, and the figure for Machakos as at now is slightly just over 1,000. And as Madam CAS articulated yesterday, when teenagers come for antenatal clinics, this is based on a case-by-case visit rather than a longitudinal profile. So sometimes you may interpret each and every visit like a different teenager coming for assessment. So usually what happens is that total number of ANC cases, antenatal care cases, the teenage pregnancies will just range about a third of that. So if you have 3,000 total antenatal care clients coming in a facility in 1 month, then teenagers could work to just around 1,000. There was another question about vaccine. Yes, Kenya is a member of the global health arena and will play our role appropriately as the vaccine studies continue. Of course, development of vaccines is a process, it's not an event. You need a bit of time, you require lots of resources, and you have credible institutions, including our own KEMRI, which will be part and parcel of this process at a due time when the right procedures and protocols have been addressed. I think that is all that came my way. Thank you.